Oh boy, another Fender Standard Telecaster video. Except this one is my review. But first, sounds. Going for some 70s classic rock type vibes with that. Hey, it's Carl. Welcome back to the No Shred Zone. So yes, this is the very controversial Fender Standard Telecaster, $599, let's call it $600, made in Indonesia, universally, simultaneously hated and appreciated. It's a rare feat from Fender to get people so riled up about this thing. So let's talk a little bit about it. Now, I've already covered a bunch in my previous videos with this guitar. I did a first impressions unboxing video. I did a comparison with the Squier Classic Vibe 50s Telecaster. I've covered a lot there. Some of this stuff will be a repeat. Let's cover the things that are important to me because I'm my own audience. First things first, need to give a shout out to zZounds for lending me this guitar to review. Really appreciate it. Please check them out. If you check them out, they will lend me more cool gear to review. It'll help a lot. Thank you. So let's talk about the things that I like. I like the satin neck. I like the medium jumbo frets. I like how it sounds. These are ceramic pickups, which some people don't like because they use their eyes and spec sheets instead of their ears, and that's fine, but these are nice pickups. I like the saddles, the bridge. I don't mind that it's satiny chrome, although I don't love the way that looks, but I do like the individual saddles. I like the color, and I know some people have said the body is 4 pieces, but on this one, I can really only see 3. So I don't know what the deal is there. In the comments of my comparison with the Squier video, someone mentioned that they weighed one and it was over 9 pounds, whereas this one is 7.5 pounds. So there seems to be maybe some variation in the wood that they're using. Now, of course, there's always going to be a little bit of a variation, but 1.5 pounds seems too much variation almost. So I don't know. I would have to measure or weigh every single one that they get to get a better idea of what's going on. But anyway, yeah, this one's 7.5 pounds. It's a lot lighter than my Squier Classic Vibe, which is almost 9 pounds, 8.8 pounds. I like how the neck feels. It's, again, I like satin. I like how it feels. The fretboard edges are slightly rolled, but I will say that's both a blessing and a curse in some ways. Sometimes I get some string slippage falling off the side of the fretboard. So I need to be a little bit careful sometimes to get some slippage. Is that a massive issue? No. Does it happen on other guitars? Yes. It's the type of thing where, you know, different guitars do play differently, and so you just need to kind of get used to them. A lighter touch goes a long way with something like this. Before we get into things I don't love, let's talk about things I don't really care about. Okay, I don't care about a 3-ply pickguard. I don't care that it goes black, white, black. It's a completely uninteresting thing to me. So I understand those type of details matter to some people. I don't care that I don't care that the headstock is glossy. It's a weird choice a little bit to me, but I don't care. And I did mention this, I don't care that the saddles are satiny chrome, just don't love how it looks. I think the color looks great. No issues with this tint on this butterscotch blonde. So it's got It's got a wider neck, almost 43 millimeters, 1.6875 inches, similar to the American Professional 2. I believe the American Professional 2 is slightly thinner, if you will. The Player 2 is more similar to the Squier Classic Vibe, 42 millimeters. So you might not like that. I don't know. I don't have a strong preference on nut width. The tuners, I don't have any, let's say, positives or negatives. Again, it's a neutral thing. They're standard Fender tuners. Totally good, right? As far as actual negatives, I think the only one I have is similar to a lot of people. For me personally, $600 for this, I don't think it's necessarily a bad value, but I'm gonna save a little more and probably buy a Player 2 or a used Player 2 instead of buying this. For, I guess, a few reasons, but predominantly the Player 2s that I've played, I've just liked them more. We try to convince ourselves that various specs kind of translate to other guitars. I'm going to be very confusing right now, but like a ceramic pickup can sound great. Alnico can sound great. They can both sound not great. So until you kind of play with a guitar, you don't really know what the reality is for you. So in any case, I don't hate the Standard. I think it's a good guitar. The people who say it's an affinity or like a Squier affinity or something like that, it's ridiculous. Whether we like it or not, brand names have value. So is the Fender brand name worth $150, let's say? Yeah, probably. That's for the market to decide more so than us as individuals. But my guess is that this is going to be a bestseller for Fender, because if you're a new player that does want the Fender brand, $600 is easier to afford than a Player 2, which is what, like $800 to $900. So yeah, I think, and I don't think anybody who buys it is going to be unhappy. There's nothing in this guitar that makes me unhappy. The value thing is a different, completely different argument, completely different issue. So I feel like I'm beating a dead horse at this point with all of that. But yeah, it's a completely good guitar, and $600 is not a ridiculous price. I know I review a lot of budget gear, and there's a lot of budget gear that I really like, but this guitar came out of the box playable. There were no fret issues. It basically only needed some intonation adjustments, which you're gonna get pretty much no matter what you're paying. So that's not unique to this guitar. But yeah, I like it. This is my most philosophical guitar review I think I've ever done. What we're gonna do now is some sound demos, and if you already watched the Squier Classic Vibe video, it's gonna have some of the same sounds. I'm reusing some of those sounds, but there'll be some new ones thrown in as well. But yeah, if you like these sort of videos, if you want me to get more philosophical in the future, leave me a comment, let me know. Like this video, subscribe, join the Patreon, best Patreon in the game. Thank you again to zZounds for letting me borrow this guitar, because it's being sent back. Well, it's probably already on its way by the time you're watching this video. So do appreciate that. Check them out. Helps out the channel. That's the Fender Standard Telecaster, a completely good guitar that I think got too much initial hate. On to the sounds, and see you next time.